Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the F1 Grand Prix here in the Rwagnation League. It's Russia, and we are very excited for this Grand Prix. I'm Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me is the incredibly talented Horn Badger. How are you?
Yeah, doing really well. How's things?
Oh, all good, all good. Driver standings are also looking very good as Nicholas is bringing that gap ever so slightly closer to Hypers. 263 for Hypers, 235 for Nicholas Longay. Infamous is still in this as well, but he's a bit further back. 193 points with Preschneider on 117. Brownie's closing in on Preschneider with 107. Yolte in P6 with 89. Papernik 7th. Yonti 8th. Wemmels 9th. And Geton in 10th. Yenab gets best of the rest currently with 42, but this is still to play for because Camille's there P12, Samidia P13, Zones P14, Copy P15, Daniko 16th, Just Chillin 17th, Bika 18th, Tom in 19th, and Dennis with his singular point in 20th place. The Constructors is also pretty lively. Mercedes have done such a good job of keeping themselves at the front, and they're doing that even so now. 316 points for Mercedes, 274 for Racing Point in P2, Haas in 3rd with 250. Renault in 4th, Toro Rosso 5th, Alfa in 6th, Ferrari in 7th, Williams 8th, McLaren 9th, with Red Bull only 5 points in 10th place. This is the track that we're going to be taking it all out on here today. It's 18 turns, 3.6 miles in total with 2 DRS zones. Lots of tow opportunities, lots of dive opportunities, especially in towards turn 5 as we go into our Esport Works hotspots on the Russian circuit. We're going to see exactly where this is. Now, it says turn 1, but it actually means turn 2. This we saw last season with Just Chillin, Brownie, and Faircam. We had a battle and a half coming towards it, and it was a big send on there from Just Chillin. He got sandwiched by a couple of drivers. It was Brownie and Faircam, who, unfortunately, nobody actually got any damage, actually. Quite lucky for them. Turns 15, 16, we saw Bika, Copy, and Yorn having a battle, and here it was. A very spicy one indeed. A big contact there, and Bika gets rotated. We are going to skip the hot lap, just purely because we are into the qualifying. We have missed a fair bit already. Hypers is P1 with a 130.387. Fastest lap currently. Preschneider P2, and Geton has not got to qualify.
Yep, he has got a qualifying ban for this race, so he's just retired pretty much immediately. But it's looking like his teammate's not needing any help with that slipstream anyway. He's managed to set in on an absolutely blinding first banker lap.
Now, I am seeing the usual suspects getting the invalidated laps, Nicholas Longay and Camille on this circuit. This is a circuit they are fast at by, I'm not taking anything away from them at all. Nicholas can be crazy quick on the circuit. His issue is, and probably will be going into the race, invalidated lap times, also penalties, warnings, track extensions, you name it. He's probably going to end up doing it in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. The last couple of races, Nicholas has had quite a lot of penalties to his name, and that's costing him now. It's definitely costing him positions. He's undeniably got incredible speed, but if the drivers behind him are close and they keep their nose clean, then they're making up those positions.
Now, obviously, the usual situation is that Hypers is currently starting P1. Look at that, 130.387. It's a very fast time. We are still waiting to see the likes of Infamous, for example, chuck a lap time on, who's just started his hot lap. We have a yellow flag sector 2-3. That's just the Ferrari getting out of the way. But, when we're getting into this later stages of the calendar, this is where you can't be having these mistakes from the penalties, especially if you're in Nicholas's shoes, for example. He is closing in on Hypers for the Drivers' Championship. In terms of the Constructors, it's getting even closer as well between Mercedes and Racing Point. And even Haas are still in this. They've only just recently lost P2 away from Racing Point. It's that they've really stepped their game up, as Zones puts himself up into P2 with a 130.839. Interesting that no one's chosen any other tyres. You can do softs to mediums here. It's actually pretty simple. The softs don't get as destroyed as they did previously in F1 2018. So a soft medium's very much doable.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like everyone's currently on the same strategy. I mean, potentially there'll be people at the end trying to set a lap in on mediums, but most likely everyone's going to follow the same strategy, trying to get as far up the field as possible, and then hope to God they survive into turn 2 come the race.
Preschneider on a hot lap as well, currently on a 130.912, does have a lot to improve on if he wants to close into Hypers. 6/10, in fact, just to get anywhere near him Can actually still secure this. You know, this is still nowhere near over. We do have 9 minutes remaining of the qualifying session. We still have lots of track evolution to bring into this, and also they start to get a bit more comfortable with this. You know, they start to settle into the qualifying session, start to shake off any nerves, especially Infamous. Look at that, 1:30.248, your new pole sitting time.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if Yonti gave him the slipstream or not. Yonti's just behind him, so they might have helped him up the back straight with a little bit of slipstream, but that's certainly a really good time to put in right now. And currently securing him that provisional pole position.
Well, Renault have just done exactly that as well. I suspect that this is going to be a theme of today. I think a lot of the teams are going to be trying this because it is really effective. There are 2 mega straights here where you can gain obscene amounts of time. And the Renault boys are not a team to be shy away from that. You know, they will absolutely go for it if they get the opportunity to give the toe. As Yolta having a little bit of a tail kick out there. Does cost him just a touch, but he might still chuck in a huge lap time.
Looks like Bika and Dennis are also doing the slipstream, so Bika's just been given the toe up the back straight just now. So we'll see what time he can put in currently.
Now, Dennis actually sat P5 currently, albeit by just 7,000ths of a second between him and Buemos. He's in between a sister team sandwich right now. Pressure Knight obviously in P4, Buemos in P6. Still, look how close these times are starting to get in now. This is really going to be a tight and tense race.
Yep, absolutely. And because I don't think he actually improved on that lap, he's P10.
Okay, let's have a look for Brownie as well. He's going to be receiving the same treatment that he just gave to his teammate in just a Uno Memento. We have a Haas coming to the line. I think that's... Is that Yonti? Yes, it is. It is Yonti. He did do a lap, but it wasn't really that strong. Camille, though, he chucks in a new fastest lap, 1:30.097. Now, literally, we're talking, I don't know, what, 4 days ago? Maybe a bit less than that. I saw him get a new set of pedals, and I was questioning whether or not he's going to be able to maintain the same pace he had before on this circuit. I think that answers my question.
Yep, absolutely. He's certainly setting a blinding time, while his teammate still sits down in 19th.
Brownie then is coming through now. He's just received the toe from Yolta, which means he should now be able to chuck in a very fast time, although he did look a little bit uncomfortable going through that sector there. The back end just getting a bit live there. I think he just chucked the car a bit too far into the corner and tried to maintain too much momentum through the slow bit. And now coming through the final corner, same scenario again. He runs wide and it is a lap time, but it's only just slightly faster.
Yep, he's only really gained on his teammate there, which... You know, I suppose you always want to beat your teammate, but he was hoping to get a little bit further up the field with that.
Dennis then coming through the final corner now. He has done a beautiful lap time already, and he goes that little bit faster. 1:30.851 means he's only 200ths of a second away from Zones, although that's just been beaten by Mizzo, who's done a 1:30.831. P4 for him.
And here comes Hypers. He's just been given the toe from Camille. He's in the final sector just now, and he has invalidated. So whatever he was going to get, he's not going to get now.
Do you mean Nicholas?
Yep.
You said
Who
Hypers.
did I say?
Hypers in the pits. He's definitely not out on hot lap.
Yeah,
Nicholas still
not.
going there. He may have actually. Did it go red for you then? Did he show his invalidation?
Yep, it's went red, okay. But he's still putting the time in. So it would have been a 1:30.064. So that would have put him on provisional pole, but as you say, he's invalidated, so he's still down in P19.
Bad news bears for Nicholas Longue then. Like I said before, he has got incredible pace. He just doesn't seem to be able to avoid getting these out invalidations, getting these corner cuttings, a little bit in track extensions, which cause him to get invalidated laps. If he can bring that into the race without getting any of the invalidated laps or any corner cutting or any track extensions of any kind, he should then be able to take this race and slip into his back pocket and just run off. Like, there's no real concerns for him. But I'm worried about his consistency.
Yep, he's the one thing we can count on Crow for doing though is setting the time in exactly when it matters. So I'm sure that he will not be remaining in 19th come the end of this qualifying. But whether he can sneak that pole position, he'll probably now have to do a little bit more of a conservative lap, and that could cost him.
It really, really could. Now, I'm going to say it's not entirely the calm before the storm, but it is mostly the calm before the storm, as majority of the drivers are in the pits, prepping themselves for that final rundown. The one where they're going to work it together with their teammates and try and get the toe perfectly executed. We've seen the Renault boys try it twice. We've seen the Racing Point boys try it as well. Well, it's not really worked out for them so much. In fact, it may have worked for Camille. It might have been the reason why he got the 130.0. You know, we've seen the Haas guys do it, and they're currently one of them starting P2 as well. So it's still very much all to play for.
So I actually just had a message there. It looks like Mizzo actually set his time with DRS failure. So he potentially has a lot more time in the bag. He could be really challenging the front runners in this race.
And also, I mean, we don't even know if he got any tow as well. You know, if he got tow there, then yeah, there's still only a little bit of time to get. But if he didn't get any tow, and he didn't have DRS, and he still chucked in a 130.831, that is a massive indicator that he has a lot to give today. And this could be massive for Alfa Romeo.
Yep, absolutely. And hopefully his teammate will be able to, you know, be roughly in the same location as him. Have a little bit of team tactics going to just get the points in for the team and move them up the championship standings.
So a few drivers have come out. Now what you're going to start to see here is these drivers that are going to be given the tow are going to be out first. So obviously they outlap Yolta, Beaker, and I'm looking at Camille out there as well. What they'll do is they will coordinate with their teammates so that as they get to a certain point, probably as they get towards the start of the isn't straight, you know, the second DRS zone, that's probably when they'll instigate to the teammates, okay, you need to start heading out now. And they time it just right, they'll start heading out the pits right as their teammate is starting their hot lap, and then they can be a little bit further afield ready for, because ideally, you know, yes, the most time you can gain is on the home straight, but that's a lot harder to execute. Whereas if you do it on the second straight, the second DRS straight, you can gain a lot there too, and it's a far easier tow to provide.
Yep, absolutely, and it's looking like your words are coming true, as you can see all the other members of the teams, the Racing Points, the Toro Rossos and everything, they're all coming out now, trying to just get lined up with their teammate.
So you can see that Brownie, who is going to be giving the tow to Yolta, is a bit further up the field, which is running perfectly for Yolta. And a similar sort of situation goes for Racing Point, albeit Nicholas is a lot further up the field relative to the Renault. But, I mean, that's easy to fix. You just slow down. You know, that's not really anything to worry about. Dennis is going to be doing the same thing for Beaker, and this is where you're going to see the teams really start to coordinate, although it looks like the Alpha boys made a mistake.
Yeah, a little bit. They might still be able to make the most of this. There's still a little bit of time for them, but yep, for Mizzo now, looks like he'll be getting the toll, but not his teammate, which is not ideal.
Infamous sets the new fastest lap, then it's a 130.035, but it's only marginally ahead of Camille, and if there is still track evolution to be benefited from for the Racing Point team, then they should be finding themselves right back on the top step as we get further into this race. We have a Ferrari coming through. Who is that? That is Danico about to start a lap. We also have a Toro Rosso, which would be Buemels. Now, I am looking at Presschneider, who's only just come out of the pits now, so he will only be giving the tow to Buemels. He's not going to have enough time to get around the circuit and go ahead again to do a fastest lap.
Yep, but it looks like the Racing Points have actually timed this to perfection. Once Presschneider retires, though, has he had an instant?
No, I think he just had enough. Yolta crosses the line. He does a 130.622, which puts him P5 for now. We have got plenty of drivers coming across the line as well.
Blocking the pit lane. Dan must have spun out in the final turn and ended up blocking the pit lane entry. So that's a disqualification for him.
Oh dear. That will send him to the back if he's been disqualified then. That is not good news for him at all. The Red Bull boys are having a little bit of a awkward situation on the home straight. They've given each other the tow again. And Dennis is the one looking to be faster. Camille did a lap, but I don't think he managed to get the time in as he hasn't improved and stays P2. He will go for giving his teammate the advantage. Hyper's currently on a fast lap as well. Watch out for his time. I'm not sure if he's up or not, but he's someone you can rely on to get near the front, if not at the front.
Yep, and this is Nicholas now just set purple sector 1. And he's coming through now, trying to catch up to the back of his teammate for that toe up the back straight. So he's looking like he is on for an absolute flyer.
Infamous is retired then. He doesn't want to go again. This is going to be Camille giving the tow, like you said, to Nicholas. Right the way down this. And just watch how they perform this. This is as close to perfect as you can get. He's going to be right here, gaining so much extra momentum. And then Camille will pull away into the braking zone, goes Nicholas, and straight through that chicane. goes Nicholas Longe. Can he now carry this through into the fastest lap? Hypers couldn't do it. He went and in fact invalidated, although he had improved by a 10th without the toe. So pace is there. He just can't get it done on the track.
Yep, first 2 sectors purple for Nicholas Longe right now. So he's coming around to the final turn, coming across the line and looking like it could be a pole position.
Oh,
and it is pole position.
Oh, 130.005. He almost gets himself into the 129s. I want to see, the Red Bull boys have come in. Where's Mizzo? He crosses the line, he goes P7, so he does improve, puts himself with a 130.547. We also have the other Alpha coming into the pits. We have a Ferrari coming too. Is that Safso? Yes, it is. 2 corners to go. He looks like he's backed out. Oh, has he got wing damage? Yeah, he does. Left side. So his qualifying is over. P17 at best for him. Just chilling into the pits as well. We have a Mercedes. I think that's it. No one can improve. Yeah, that's it. So Nicholas has secured pole position. Infamous chasing him down in P2. And Camille finishing off that sandwich, being the bottom bread.
Yep, absolutely. But going into turn 2, this is going to be really spicy for Nicholas. But he luckily manages to have his teammate right beside him. So going in, he could effectively give the slipstream to Camille, and they could be leading 1-2 coming out at turn 2.
That could not have gone any better for Camille. It's almost like they intended for that to happen. However, they would also have liked to have been side by side so they could block the whole racetrack, you know. However, Nicholas has got pole, like we said, with Infamous there in 2nd, Camille in 3rd, Hypers in 4th with Preschneider in 5th, Yonti in 6th place with Mizzo in 7th, Buemos in 8th, Yolta in 9th with Zones rounding out the top 10. Samidia in the best of the rest position with Dennis in P12, Beaker P13, Copy P14, and P15 is where we reach just outside the 1 second margin where Brownie sits. Dan in P16, Safso P17, just chilling P18, Get Owned couldn't put a time on, and neither could Danico. So, we've seen the qualifying. I'm going to ask you then, very straight off the bat, not holding back by any stretch of the imagination, what is your 1, 2, 3 prediction at the end of the race?
You know, I'm just looking at the weather here. It looks a bit overcast. There could be some rain coming, which would certainly spice up the race. But as it stands, if it stays dry, I think Nicholas, this is his to lose, really. He'll be given the slipstream to Camille, and he'll be able to hopefully come into 1-2, and then Racing Point can just control this race. I would say
I didn't even mention the rain anymore. After last race, I didn't even mention it. I got debated so hard. The whole race, I was thinking rain is coming, rain is coming, rain is coming, and it never came. I'm starting to worry if that weatherman even exists.
Yeah, it's the nature of the weather, I suppose. Whether it will come down hard the way you need it in the laps that you need it to. So it's hard to base your strategy off it. But as it stands, if it stays dry, I'm going to say that it'll be Nicholas, Camille, and then I think Hypers might manage to get up there and take that P3.
I think Nicholas will actually cross the line P1, but I think he's going to get far too many penalties for him to be able to hold it. I actually think that Hypers has got the pace. Like, he didn't receive a toe, and he was still only a 10th away from these boys up in P1 on the lap time that, yes, it did get invalidated, but he still was very close to it. You know, the toe does give a tremendous amount of time. You know, we're talking 3 tenths, 4 tenths down that back straight if it's done properly. I want to see Nicholas keep it consistent and clean and secure that win properly. I don't think he will. I am going to go with Hypers P1, Infamous P2, Nicholas P3 due to penalties.
All right then, we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, I mean, as it stands, Nicholas has definitely been having a lot more penalties than those in the top running with him. So if he can keep it clean, I think he should walk this. But as you say, it's not been keeping it clean the last few races, so we'll see where it ends up.
So Nicholas leading us around here in the formation lap. And I do need to make you aware that the Driver of the Day voting will open at the beginning of lap 19. So you can get your Dennis votes in as you usually do, and you will still lose the Driver of the Day vote because he's currently struggling.
Yep, but he's in P12 just now, managed to get in front of Beaker. So not a bad qualifying for him. He might be able to break in and get some points, add to that lonely point tally that he's got currently just now.
Interesting that outside of the top 10, only 2 drivers chose to go for soft tyres. They can very much do a soft to medium strategy, but you know, we say time and time again, mediums to softs is always going to be the better strategy, purely because when you get onto the softer tyre towards the end, you're going to be on way less fuel, your car's going to be so much better, the track is going to be more rubbered in, life is going to be great on those soft tyres, and you can really go on the offensive in comparison to those that are going to be running on those mediums. The only thing you got to worry about is whether you can maintain the tyre wear and the tyre temperatures in order to keep them in the best position possible. Nicholas, though, he's the one who's going to be really feeling the heat as we run towards turn 2. He has no way to tow himself out of it. He has to keep everyone back. Infamous is going to be looking to slide it down into his inside in towards turn 2 as the lights are on. And it's go time here in Russia. Nicholas has got his usual solid start. Has Camille been able to follow suit? It looks like Hypers might have actually got a better run than Camille did, but Infamous is still here. This is going to be a run in towards turn 1 that I don't think Nicholas can actually hold back. Infamous has very much got the position, but he's going to have to take a very tight run through turn 2, 3, and I think Nicholas has held it back.
Yep, now Infamous is going round the outside here, trying to get the inside for the next turn. Looks like he might have it, but some cars going wide behind him.
We've got Bremels out, we've got Yonti, he's had a mega crash, we've also had Dennis crash out, Safso, massive accidents, we've had safety car, is that 7, 8 cars all involved in this one massive accident? We've had 4 drivers DNF in just turn 4 alone. We've got plenty of wing damage on Copy. We've got plenty of wing damage on Brownie. Same for Yolta. Both the Renaults. Renault's having an absolute mare of a race. We've lost a Ferrari driver. The other one is limping back to the pits with no end plates. Dan, I think, is also in the same boat when it comes to no wing. He's missing the left side quite drastically. Yonti. All I can say is I am so worried for our poor stewarding team. They are going to be inundated with the current incidents.
Yep, but if you look at Get Owned, he's managed to gain 10 positions and make it into the top 10 already. In 4 turns, he was able to climb those mountain passes. Obviously, there was some disasters in front of him as well to gain, but he certainly managed to make the most of that situation.
I really want to see exactly what happens. Safety car lap 1. Infamous actually managed to get ahead of Nicholas throughout that run, and now we're going to be in a position where we're going to see who now
Infamous
goes
is coming into the pits.
Everyone's going to go in for hards, guaranteed.
Yep.
Ready? Watch this. Everyone except Camille, apparently, because he's decided he's staying on the side. Now, he could still make this work. Bear in mind, yes, hards will go to the end, but I actually think that these guys could run that soft to medium strategy and still maintain, the recovery. That has he got wing damage? Nicholas has wing damage.
He must have got caught with Infamous as he was going down for the overtake. But I feel so bad for Camille because every race it seems that whenever anything comes out a safety car, he's always right behind Nicholas, and for him. For his strategy then, especially if he knows that Nicholas is going to need a new wing or whatever, that means that he has to stay out or he would lose too much time. And Camille always seems to be getting the short end of the stick.
Now, I'm lost for words. How do you even summarize what just happened on that first lap? We lost 4 cars. We've had almost every car, I think, go into the pits. All but 3 cars have gone into the pits of the remaining 16 drivers, that is. We've got 2 that are still in there currently because they had to double stack. We've got now a Racing Point team that are currently on very different strategies, which isn't always the worst scenario, except Nicholas was the one who had to get his wing replaced, and I'm told that was because Infamous broke a little bit early, and I'm quoting here, brake checked was the word that was used, on Nicholas Longe. Now, I don't know how true that is. Obviously, we are not stewards by any stretch of the imagination. We let the student team do what they got to do. However, as commentators, we have to speculate, and all we know is Nicholas falls down the order to P7 under the safety car.
And for more speculation, everyone's going to have to stop again, apart from Brownie and the Williams boys. They're the only team that have went on hard tyres. Everyone else is on mediums. Now, granted, we saw the other day in a different league that the medium tyres can indeed go to the end, but these guys could be sitting ducks at the end of this race.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying, the likes of Camille, for example, who is currently on the soft tyres, and Danico even to an extent, these guys can really prey on that. You know, they can actually go for that swap to the medium tyre later on in the race and actually still be so much faster than these guys that have tried to take whatever tyre they're on currently to the end of the race, if they go ahead and do that. Just chilling. In for a really big opportunity if he can manage pace and manage his tyres and, crucially, especially on this circuit, manage penalties.
Yep, absolutely. So now indeed it is as much a tyre management game as it is just out and out race pace. So this is really spiced this race right up.
I mean, if you were right in what you said, obviously the weather does still look like there is an opportunity for rain. We don't know the weather report. We don't know if rain is coming. I'm gonna stipulate that very clearly. PTSD from last week, obviously. But you know, if the rain does come at any point in this race, and it looks like it's going to be towards the end, if anywhere, especially with the fact that Williams boys have both chucked on hards, you know, then anybody could open this up. You know, this can really still fall to anybody's race, no matter what happens. Although I don't actually think we're going to see any today.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely overcast, and we know in this game that doesn't really mean anything. It could come down, it could clear up. You know, haven't seen any reports from anyone saying that the rain is coming. So as far as we're concerned, it's supposed to be a dry race, and that means that all of these guys, apart from the current soft runners, are probably wanting to go to the end of this race. But whether they'll still have the pace within their car, that's another issue altogether.
Now, as you can imagine, the stewards have been in touch, but all they can advise right now is that the lap 1 incident will be investigated after this race. That doesn't surprise me, if I'm honest, because it was absolute carnage. We saw 4 cars get DNF. We saw at least another 6 cars with wing damage. So many cars were stood still on the actual racetrack because of the incident that just unfolded. Luckily, this is virtual, so no lives are lost. But my word, what a battle that was.
Now Camille needs to have an absolute exit of dreams when he decides to go and make it so by the time he gets down to turn 2, he has no one beside him. But some idiot just needs to make sure as soon as Camille goes, he goes with him.
Yep. Camille, then, you are going to dictate how this race restarts. It looks like he's decided right this second. Some idiot going to stay with him, but the back end kicking out there for Camille means that it's going to be an opportunity for some idiot to sort of slide into his DMs again, should that happen. Get on P3. He's had a really good run considering he started right at the back of the grid due to his qualifying ban. Infamous is there, P4. He's had a really good run in the fact that he's had to pit and still come back out again, but everyone behind him is in exactly the same position. It was Nicholas Longe that was there with him earlier in this race. He's actually alongside Zones going around the outside of turn 4. Can we avoid another mega collision this time and avoid another safety car? I think we can, as Nicholas will not get the position. He will stay P7 for now, but he might actually get him here. Looks like he's going to go for a send. This is going to be a braking zone and a half. He's gone for a late break. He's going to be alongside Zones. He's actually just touched the curb, and a little bit of contact between the two drivers means Nicholas will get up into P6, and Hypers is going to look for the run inside as well. He's got that, so 2 cars go past Zones in just 2 corners.
Yep, and Hypers wants to make sure that he stays right on that bumper of Nicholas Longe, staying on his gearbox. He doesn't want any gap to form between him and his main championship rival here. He wants to make sure that if there's any opportunities, he's taking the most advantage out of the situation. Now, I know that the timings on the left don't quite show how big the gaps are getting, but Camille has got a gap, and it's actually going to be Just Chilling and Yolta going alongside each other in the hard, awkward sections. That's Just Chilling, locking up the tyres on the right side. He's still sticking around the outside of Yolta, but look at the inside here. Dan's coming in. It's going to be a position change if Dan can maintain this the line on the inside, which I think he can, but Just Chilling's still there. Dan gets the move done up into P13. Infamous as well is just taking Get Owned in the penultimate corner, so it's just before the straights now. If Get Owned can stay in the slipstream, he might be able to get this position back, but Infamous made for a very opportunistic move to get that position done. Mizzo here in P5. He's actually going to be firing one, or at least he looked at it for a second. There's Nicholas Longe on the back of Mizzo. There was a defensive move there from Mizzo to try and hold Nicholas Longe at bay. Nicholas seems to love the outside line here in turn 4, but it doesn't always work out unless he can get the run in towards turn 5. Mizzo squeezes him out as wide as he can. There's contact between them. There's Nicholas getting rotated and he's off. That's him into the wall with wing damage on the left-hand side. Sometimes that's what happens when you get a little bit too tight on the inside. Mizzo defended hard.
How fair was it? We'll have to let the stewards decide, but Nicholas falls to the back of the entire grid and suffers yet more wing damage.
Yep. Whether he thinks he can continue with the damage or not remains to be seen, but that's really put his race in the bin.
So Mizzo, P5, hunting down Get Earned. No DRS as of yet. We still have the remainder of this lap to go before it gets re-enabled. Mizzo, though, ready to fire on Get Earned when the opportunity arises on the home straight, more than likely. But that gap is only 1.1, so there is still a chance for Get Earned to get back into the DRS range of Infamous ahead of him. Although I don't think he's going to be able to do that.
No, I think Get Earned's been getting the order here to just make sure Mizzo does not pass and make sure that Hypers can get the slipstream. And there'll definitely be team orders at play, as they like to say. The Mercedes think that they've got the best teamwork within the championship just now. So there will definitely be some talk between their Jeff and the drivers right now, trying to organise this so the Hypers can get past both of them.
Well, here comes Mizzo then on Get Earned. Get Earned is obviously, like you said, going to try and defend as much as he can, but that wasn't really that much of a defensive move. He's going to try and let Hypers through as quick as he can, though, surely. Although they are both still fighting for position. Mizzo squeezing Get Earned on the inside. Get Earned still holding him there, actually. Really, he's actually got his car fully ahead of him now. Mizzo, despite all the hard work that Mizzo tried to do on the home straight and did in towards turn 2, 3, and 4, Get Earned is back up again in the P4, but he does just take it a little bit too far and gets himself a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, unfortunately so, but you know, his race is still looking pretty good from starting right at the back of the grid. He's right now in P4. Still needs to make his stop, but he's had a good run so far. So I wouldn't count him out with the points just yet.
Definitely not. And again, you know, we're not saying that the rain is coming, but if the rain should fall, then this will really make things even more interesting, and it could bring Nicholas right back into this race. Here is Mizzo going round the outside of Geto, and a simple DRS overtake, unsurprisingly, and Infamous doing the same thing to Mizzo's teammate, Samidia, who's now up into P2 for Infamous, P3 for Samidia.
Yep, and Get On just letting Hypers by as well, so he can continue attacking Mizzo.
Yeah, he also has to be careful though, because Pressionator is here on the back of Get On as well. So if this does go slightly awry, then it will be Pressionator closing in on Hypers. Now, in terms of the championship, this is something that Hypers will want to protect. He doesn't want Pressionator to get past Get On, so he may instruct, hey, Get On, can you try and hold him back as Zones comes into the pits?
Yep, absolutely. Zones did look like he was actually struggling a bit. I don't know if he had damage, but Danny was all over the back of him.
I've been told there is going to be no rain, so good news for us. Mizzo and Hypers swapping places. That is all there is it. Mizzo takes a lot of runoff there, and he's lost the car. Oh, he kept that out the wall just about. No wing damage though, but 2 or 3 places lost now for him. That was a bit of a scary moment for Mizzo.
Yep, and Zones definitely did have damage. He's just had his wing replaced, put on those hard tyres. He'll be going to the end.
I think that was a definite Code Brown moment there for Mizzo. He almost very nearly had his entire race chucked in the bin there as a result. Dan getting 3-second time penalty as well. And down in P11, Yolta closing in on Yonti. Yonti closing in on Danny. There's a massive train battle. This is all for P4. They're all in DRS range of each other. I mean, Get On is about to drop out of that if he doesn't pick his pace up a little bit. Samidia getting a 3-second time penalty. Things going very wrong for Alfa Romeo.
Yep, absolutely, but still a long way left in this race. Potentially still good points in from both the members of the team, but Hypers looks like he's just going to be pulling that gap away from Get On now, so that is going to make Get On a bit of a second sitting duck to everyone behind him.
Exactly, with the Pressionator coming after him too. You know, that can very much swap things around quite painfully. You know, Get On did a really good job on the start. You know, he jumped up so many places, got himself up to P3, and he's only lost 2 of them. One of them he gifted as well, so you know, can't really sort of rule him out of this at all, but he is outside of DRS range on his teammate, which means now then Pressionator should be able to pass him pretty simply.
Yep, Pressionator's right on his gearbox just now, so that should be an easy overtake into turn 2.
There's another little battle going on for P12 right now. Brownie just chilling and Copy. There's a little 3-car battle. It's a bit spread out, but not too much. There's still DRS available for all 3 drivers, but they are the hard runners. So it's no surprise that the gap has formed, but they will be able to take this to the very end.
Yep, so I was just checking in on Nicholas Longe there. He definitely did get his wing replaced as well, so he's now new fresh set of mediums, got that wing replaced, and he's still behind Zones by about 11 seconds nearly, so he definitely would need a safety car to get some luck going his way.
Now, the biggest winners and biggest losers time. Biggest winner currently is Get Owned, who is up 13 places, although he is being chased by Danico, who's got 12 places gained. Biggest loser, unsurprisingly, is Nicholas Longe, as he has lost 15 places due to the contact he had earlier with Mizzo. Who's in the wrong, who's in the right? Well, we don't know. However, we do know that there is a battle going on for our current race leaders, Camille and Infamous. Camille currently holding the fort for Racing Point, trying to secure as many points as he possibly can. Infamous may look to take these mediums to the end. Camille, we know, is absolutely going to pit because he hasn't yet done so, and the rules state he has to pit. So we'll see when he decides to come off these softs and go onto the medium tyres. He needs to make sure he doesn't leave it too late, but here comes Infamous.
Yeah, I think he's probably just trying to make it as difficult for Infamous as possible, but once Infamous is by, he's probably going to take that as a sign that, you know, these tyres are not good enough anymore, I need to come in.
Infamous gets past Camille, or does he? They're going to be going side by side throughout. Infamous has backed out. He's actually decided to let Camille take the tight line and let me get a better run out the turn 3. Turn 4 has not really proven to help him out there a little bit. He's on the curb, which is quite risky as those tyres will take a fair bit more wear and temperature than they should. Camille will maintain P1 for now though, but you know Infamous will send it on that next DRS straight.
Oh, Danny spun. Mizzo just went to overtake Danny on the outside and they've just clipped out the front left tyre and Danny spun. The Ferrari's now struggling. He's coming out right at the back of this pack between the Williams as well.
And to think that he was doing so well, he was up so many places and now he's going to fall to P14 and have it all to do all over again. Looks like there's been a fair bit of issues with Mizzo, other people, and Turn 5. Whether or not that's, again, we don't know if that's his fault or not, but you know, either way, he's finding himself involved in something. Hyper's coming for some idiot. It's going to be a pretty simple overtake. I don't think some idiot's even going to put up any fight for this. Actually, Infamous and Camille are going side by side. They're still going at it. Coming out of the awkward chicane at the end of the straight as Camille gets his back end stepped out just a little bit too much. And again, he's going to run through there quite nicely. Infamous gets the cutback, but he's not going to get the position change. Or is he? Because Camille's ran deep, and here comes Infamous taking race lead. But that's going to be a big mistake as we come to the final 2 corners. It's going to be Camille who's going to have the DRS straight all to himself.
Yep, and this is just inviting Hypers in. Hypers, with the more these two scrap, the bigger speed difference between them and Hypers. Hypers is just completely flying up to the back of them now.
Look at Camille's ERS. He has 11% ERS available to him. He is struggling. Infamous, on the other hand, 52. He's cruising to an extent. I mean, he's scrapping, but mainly because Camille's right there and stopping him as much as he possibly can. In terms of pace, it looks like Infamous has this one locked in, but mainly because those soft tyres now are actually going to start to disintegrate. 9 laps in means he will not have the pace he needs in order to keep up with Infamous, but also not in order to defend him away. He will soon switch to the mediums. I reckon he'll probably do it at the end of this lap, if I'm being truthfully honest, and we'll see where he comes out.
Zones has actually came into the pits again. He's not got any damage on the wing this time, but he's decided those hard tyres are just not doing it for him. So he's swapping on to the medium tyres, and he can take these to the end now. But that's allowed Crow to take position back, and he's now up to P15.
Yolta is here with Dan chasing him down. This is a battle for P7 as Yonti is currently leading this little train. Mizzo 6.5 tenths back. Does have a time penalty applied to his name as well, and that's before the stewards investigate any of the incidents that he's involved in. And the weather looks like it's actually brightening up, so even less chance of rain.
Yep, so that's again basically meaning that now if those back runners, if we're talking about Zones and Nicholas Longe, if they're wanting to catch back up to the pack, they're most likely going to need a safety car.
Yeah, exactly. But this is where, with the likes of Brownie, just chilling, Copy, could massively gain here. They're still together, and they're all within DRS range of each other. Yeah, they're down there P11, 12, and 13. But as this race goes on, their tyres will actually take over. They will start to become the faster drivers overall, and they don't have to pit again. The mediums, there's a risk of puncture. They pitted so early that they may not be able to take those tyres to the end. In fact, I have seen punctures here quite recently. Camille under attack from Hypers, 3 tenths gap between the two of them, although that's just dropped to just over a tenth. Look at the gap between P1 and P2. Camille should have pit last lap for sure.
Yep, absolutely, and I think Danny's in the same boat, but he's so close to Copy that he's trying to run this DRS train as well, trying to just make sure he gains, but these soft tyres must be dead by now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you can see Hypers is literally all over him and not trying. Look at the ERS difference between them. Camille Oh, that was very nearly a wall that he just gave a kiss to there, and Hypers will cruise on past, and Pressnider might even go for the same situation as well. Camille is in a big amount of trouble. Here comes Pressnider deep into it. He actually backed out a little bit earlier because he knows that Camille will run deep, as he knows Pressnider would have tried it if he'd had an opportunity, and the outside line for Pressnider means he's up to P3 and still within DRS range of Hypers.
Yep, Camille definitely needs to come in this lap and see if he can get a new pair of boots on, catch back up to these guys.
He has to pit now. There's no alternative. He knows he's lost time, and I think he also knows I should probably have done this a lap before than I am right now. But you know what? Fair play to him. He's done very good on those softs. He managed to maintain a very solid pace. Obviously now switching over to the mediums means he will take these tyres to the end. He should be, overall, the faster driver. It's now, look where the hard runners are. This is good for them. He's actually is he serving a penalty, or is he... No, he's fine. He's not.
Yeah,
it's just a graphical
went
issue.
out now, desync, I think. But yeah, unfortunately he's coming out in front of his teammate, but he's right down the order. There's a big gap between him and the drivers in front, and we believe no one really needs to stop again other than Danny.
Yolta, Mizzo, they're having a little battle here for P7. Dan just getting a 3-second time penalty, just trying to keep himself involved in this. Now, this is much better pace than I've seen from Yolta in quite a while. I've not seen him actually feel that confident in a Formula 1 car in quite a few weeks, actually. Danico, P13, he's hunting for copy after his mistake he made earlier, but he doesn't have the tyre to really fight this. We saw what happened to Camille when he was trying to maintain softs at this length. They just crumble away, and he's going to have to pit soon in order to go to the end of the race on mediums, more than likely. You wouldn't want to chuck hards on now. I mean, you know, Brownie, Just Chilling, and Copy did the right thing. They pit when the safety car came out, chucked on a set of hards, and took this to the end. That was exactly what I was expecting majority of the drivers to do. But they're all of the opinion you can take these mediums to the end. I'm not saying they can't, but right now it's looking like the hard runners are going to be the more comfortable ones later on in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It just depends how much of the drop-off is. And if they can, I mean, right now there's a big gap. There's 8 seconds between Dan and Brownie, and that's a big gap to close in. So realistically, these tyres need to go off, and they need to go off by a large margin before Brownie and Just Chillin' and Copy are able to actually benefit from their more lifelong tyres, shall we say. Because right now it looks like the medium tyres are just giving these guys up front a lot more pace.
So Get Owned did just manage to get past Samidian. That is now him up to P4, so he's already resumed a really good position considering where he started his race. Samidian does have penalties, we know that for sure, so does Get Owned actually. But Yonti I don't think has any. This guy is becoming my new captain consistency. He seems to be able to take it to any race circuit and somehow keep it within the track limits every single lap, which is massive when it comes to these positions he will gain later in this race. As it stands, he will jump to P4.
Yep, he's certainly going to be gaining. But again, it's just whether these guys, these tyres on the medium tyres, are actually going to last. Because right now, Get Owned and somebody, when they eventually do come into the pits, they'll be on the soft tyre, definitely. There's no reason they would ever go to the hard. So they're going to be rapid, and if the guys around them their tyres are not performing, and then the hard tyres as well, especially. I mean, they don't look like they've got the pace at all. Hards against soft, it shouldn't be any. Hards against new soft, I should say, shouldn't be any challenge at all for them. But Danny right now, he's on 11 lap old softs, and that's just not working out for him.
I think I just seen Yolta get somewhere. Yeah, I did. He's got left end plate missing. He just got a bit tail happy there. And as a result, he got left end plate missing, and to add more salt to the already quite open and bleeding wound, he gets a corner cone penalty to add to his troubles.
Yep, and it looks like Dan is trying to get on the back of him now. He's just not able to get the gap down, but with that wing damage now, Dan can certainly make a move on him.
Does Danica have a puncture? He's got serious issues. I think he's got massive wing damage, or something's gone wrong with his car. He does not look confident at all.
He's definitely got wing damage on the right hand side, but the tyres don't look like they've given a puncture.
No, and Nicholas getting a 3-second time penalty just on that final corner. It looks like Danica's backing out. He definitely doesn't feel like he's got any grip, that's for sure. He had an issue on the final corner. Look how quick Camille's got to the back of him, and already he's just going to cruise on by as if he's not even there. See you later. Yonti coming up to some idiot then. It's a 3/10 gap between them. Get Owned is the leader of this train. Dan actually closing in on Yolte. Remember, he does have wing damage as Yolte. He does have DRS though to keep him alive for now, but it's almost a full second gap between him and Mizzo, and he's about to drop outside of it. He needs to let Dan go through just so he can keep in with somebody's tow range and DRS range. Otherwise, this is going to cost him. Dan's going down the inside. It's a good attempt. It's a smart attempt, but this is where you're going to have issues because Yolte will run wide due to that left end plate and almost get sent into the wall. They are still fighting. Second to last corner. Yolte's still ahead, although Dan is ready to send it when we get onto this home straight.
Yeah, just the back end stepped out a little bit for him, but he's managed to keep the gap. So once this DRS is open, it should be an easy overtake.
Yep,
and here he goes.
Going for it. Straight on through, up to P8 then for Dan. We also have battles heading up for P4, as you can see. Get Owned, Samidia and Yonti very close together. Mizzo right here, he's not outside of this battle at all. He's just watching it all unfold though. That's the situation he's currently finding himself in. But the Alpha team are looking good. Again, I don't want to get into a commentator's curse scenario, but P5, P7, pretty happy. Nicholas Longe is saying he fastest lap.
Yeah, Nicholas is absolutely flying just now. He's several tenths faster than anyone else on the field, but he's just so far back just now that it's probably not going to make a difference.
Now Danny Coe's come into the pits and he's gone for a fresh set of softs. That's a massive mistake because you want to go mediums now to the end. And there's no way to get out of this now. I don't think Danny Coe can actually recover his race at all. I think P16 is the best he can hope for because he's going to have to pit again later.
That must be a mistake. There is no way that he's deliberately went on to another set of softs. He must have selected the wrong tyre, unfortunately, on his display, but that's ruined his race, certainly.
It has indeed. Mizzo, Yonti, Samidia is still going. Get Owned has decided that this is the lap he wants to pit. Now he's going to go for the soft tyres to the end, so he is going to be faster than the majority of the cars on the circuit. But watch out for Brownie, watch out for Just Chillin', and watch out for Copy, as these guys are still yet to... Well, they won't pit now. They don't have to. They can go to the end. Get Owned will get out, I think, around about P12? No, P11, because Yolta's in the pits as well.
Yeah, I think he's actually going to come out P13. Just looks like the... Yeah, no, P12, you were right.
Yeah, Yolta sadly got wing damage, which he has chosen to get replaced. Mizzo and Samidia swap places. I think that was more of a team decision rather than any actual on-track battle. And as you can see, Samidia just looks a little bit lost with his rear end at the minute. He's struggling to keep his car pointing in the right direction. Mizzo, less so. Does have a penalty though. Remember that will affect him later, but he is still within that margin for DRS, and he will carry Samidia further forwards and hopefully take these tyres pretty much to the very end.
Yep, and Presnider as well came in for those softs, so I want to see what pace he's managed to get on these, because if he is substantially faster than the medium runners in front of him, then they might have made a mistake, and this extra stop might actually be the fastest way to do it.
I just realised that Camille and Presnider are actually having a battle as well. Presnider on the faster softs will be throwing it down the inside, especially with the DRS wing wide open, will send him up to P10 with a 6-second gap between him and Copy. Pretty sure that will get eaten away pretty swiftly with these softs, but you know, bear this in mind, the hards will be good even in about 6 or 7 laps time when the softs will start to fall away.
Yep, absolutely, but if you can get past those runners and get back into the medium runners will be slowing down as well, and he should have an absolute bucket of pace over the top of them.
In terms of stops, there's only one person who has not yet pit, and that is Samidia, who's currently sat P5. He should really pit this lap. I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to chuck on some softs and just try and keep himself in this fight somewhere, somehow. I think when he gets into the pits and back out again, he will probably fall to about P13 territory, depending if Nicholas is able to close in any sort of gap. But again, we can't predict anything like that because he's had a pretty horrific race so far. We don't know if it's his fault. We don't know whose fault it is. But either way, that's where he sits.
Yep, absolutely. And as you said, Presnider, he's already brought that gap down to 3.8 seconds. He is hunting down those hard runners right now, and honestly I don't think there's any defence for those guys. They'll just have to let him by.
And I think they're not going to be as high up as we initially thought. These hard runners, you know, they're still good. We don't yet know how hard these mediums are going to fall away, but it's a 9.5, sorry, gap between Brownie and Dan, and they're 15 laps together. You know, they should not be losing this amount of time each interval if they want to try and get those positions again later. However, you know, give it another 5 laps, who knows what could happen? They could just suddenly crumble away. Submittee has decided pit time.
Yep, that's the correct call, I think. So now he'll be on the new fresh pair of softs, and that should take him right to the end, and he should be much faster than those around him.
Now, look at the current standings as they are. If they finish how they currently sit, then Haas will gain an obscene amount of points towards their Constructors' Championship, and obviously Infamous helping close in his Drivers' Championship too. So, you know, whilst Racing Point are there in P2, Haas are very much going to claw their way right back into this, especially with the fact that only one of the Mercedes drivers is going to score today, and currently only one of the Racing Point drivers is actually going to score as well. Yep,
and I've just Pressure Leader there actually set a fastest lap that is 2 seconds really faster than the runners in front of him. So if he's gaining 2 seconds a lap, he could be right up to the front of this field before the end of this race.
Infamous leads this race. Hyper's 1.5 seconds behind, does not have the DRS to help attack Infamous later. He will need to somehow figure out pace and close in, but at the same time needs to maintain not having any penalties. Presschneider and Copy, they're now battling as Presschneider, like we saw earlier, chucked in obscene amounts of time, and he's currently ready to fire one on Copy. However, the Williams team will be working together, or will they? Because here goes Presschneider, very late braking there from Presschneider, but he made that work beautifully. Up to P8 now, and already lining up the next Williams driver of Just Chillin'.
Yep, I don't think there's anything JC can do now. He's just going to try and get onto the home straight and watch as Presschneider goes right on by him.
Dan just been caught speeding in the pit lane. 5 second penalty, 5 second time penalty applied to his car. He will be on the soft, so should be able to hopefully claw his way into some points positions. Presschneider and Just Chilling going side by side, but that's going to be a change of positions as Presschneider on those much faster tyres and with the tow and DRS means he will very easily go into P6. But this is good news for Just Chilling. He's actually pretty happy with this because he can sit behind the Toro Rosso and help bring his way back into DRS range of Brownie and potentially take that position away from him later.
Yeah, absolutely. This is working out wonders for JC, but it's just about staying within that slipstream of Presschneider. But Presschneider won't be there for very long. He'll be on the back of Brownie and going for that overtake on this back straight at the very latest.
You know, Get Earned is back into the points, so he will actually help score his team something at least. Brownie with a time penalty. I mean, Just Chilling's got one as well, but now they're equal. So passing on the circuit should be a priority for them as Presschneider and Brownie are actually ready to go. It's going to be Brownie losing this position. There's going to be no contest from him at all. But Just Chilling couldn't use Presschneider to close in on Brownie at all. He's still 1.7 seconds away from Brownie. These 17 lap old hards are really not working for him right now.
Nope, absolutely not. The medium tyres were definitely the correct call by the looks of things. Or at least as it stands at the moment, and now Presschneider, he's got clean air, he can get after Mizzo, try and bring that gap down, but he's already breaking the DRS to Brownie. I don't know if he'll catch the DRS for this straight. He might just be in it, so that will get him 1 lap at least of getting a little bit of extra pace, but that gap is just too big between Brownie and Mizzo, so there's no way that the hard tyres will be gaining an extra position, even if the medium tyres go off the cliff.
Well, Brownie didn't actually get DRS here on the straight Copy and Just Chilling will swap places, and I need to make you all aware, in case you missed it on the screen, Driver of the Day votes are now open. So exclamation mark vote in the Twitch chat if you're watching this on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll have to wait till the end to see who wins. At the minute, I think we're looking at Yonti, to be honest. He has had a tremendous race. Position changes, claimed 3 places. Mizzo in the same boat, but Yonti's kept it completely clean. So far, don't want to jinx him in any way, shape or form. You know, again, I call him Captain Consistency for a reason. He may be able to close in on the other 2 drivers ahead of him, but you also have to look at the likes of Brownie, Copy, Just Chilling, 9, 7 and 10 places. Again, just Get On, for example, come from right at the back up to P9 currently, but he does have a lot of penalties to his name.
Yep, he does have the penalties, and he also had the lesser strategy not pitting under the safety car. That seems to be working out for all the guys in front. So not being able to do that, having to stay out, that cost him slightly, but he's certainly making it work.
Yeah, Just Chilling and Copy, they're working together to try and help attack Brownie. Clearly, Copy feels more comfortable on these tyres, that's why they've decided to swap positions. Get Owned, though, is on the back of them as well, so Just Chilling can't relax and put his feet up at all, because Get Owned's on these very fast, soft tyres. 4 laps in, so he's only about 3 laps away from them just suddenly no longer working, and then Just Chilling can recover it. But anytime he loses fighting Get Owned, or even Camille, who's also involved in this, will cost them potentially positions later.
Yep, absolutely, and it's looking like a maybe 3 going into turn. Oh, I thought there was JC was going to make a dive on his teammate Copy there, but nope. They've kept it clean and kept it going. And Get Owned is just trying to get around the outside here, but he's just not got the pace to make for a dive here. So he'll probably have to wait until the back straight. But JC's locked up.
Yeah, Get On could very much get this right back on him. He's going to look to the inside. He can see a gap. He can see an opportunity, but he can't see his way through. And Just Chilling will hold them both back. Now it looks like the Williams drivers have swapped up a little bit, and Just Chilling's gone into ultra defensive mode, trying to fend these two off to make sure that Copy can still keep his position as locked in as possible. Camille locked here behind Get Owned, but I also want to draw your attention to the front runners. Don't necessarily go on board with them, but look at the time. It's with less than a second, so they now have DRS on each other, and here comes Get Owned, ready for a firing on Just Chilling. He does have DRS to defend with. In terms of ERS levels, they're pretty much matched. Is Get Owned going to be going for later braking, and I think he's going to make his way through. Just Chilling was going to try and defend it off. He's actually still there, but he's going to fall back now, and Camille alongside him as well, going around the outside line here. This is going to be a tight and tense, but I think he's also gaining that position. Just Chilling has lost out 2 places, but he has bought his teammate a little bit of time, albeit just a few corners, as DRS being available to Get On and Camille means that they're just going to slide on by with no real dramas.
Yep, absolutely. And as you were saying, Hypers has now, he's put the foot down, has managed to get into that DRS zone of Infamous as well. But oh, here we have a virtual safety car. What's happened here? It looks like Nicholas Long is. What's happened to him? Yeah,
looks like he's just hit the wall on left hand side or on the rear, on the exit. He's had a bit of a mare. Now, virtual safety car will not help many people here.
It's allowed Copy to maintain his position for another lap or so, but yep, looks like Nicholas Longer there. I was just on the board with Danny. Just must have lost it and went straight into the wall on the left.
I think he's frustrated, to say the least. Obviously, he had everything right there in his hands. You know, he was P1 at the start of this race. It didn't quite work out as we came through turn 4. He ended up getting damage, and then the safety car came out. He pit, and he recovered a little bit. He was still P7, but then contact between him and Mizzo forced Nicholas right down to the back of the grid, again having to pit due to wing damage. And then it was just, lick your wounds and try and get yourself back into this, as the race has now been resumed. There is a train and a half going on for the Williams onwards. You can see that Copy and Get Owned are going to be swapping places. Get Owned is going to be going through. Just Chilling's going to be using the DRS here from Camille to try and close in a little bit. Camille's a bit too far back to really do much about Copy, but Get Owned has an opportunity to start clawing his way away now.
Yep, and it looks like Hypers is making his move now. He'd actually, Infamous had gained a lot from the virtual safety car as well, because he needed to save some of that ERS. It looked like he was getting pushed quite hard from Hypers behind, and he was burning a lot of his ERS, but he's managed to get it back up to around 50% just from the VSC. But Hypers now is on the back of him. He's got plenty of ERS to play with, and he just needs to keep pushing Infamous now to keep burning through that ERS, and then eventually take his overtake and potentially get this win.
Now, P9 is going for P8. This is Camille on Copy. DRS simply easy is how Camille's going to be describing that one, because he has the better grip on the tyres. 21 laps in on these hards for Copy. And there's a similar boat for Brownie, Mizzo, Yonti, Hypers and Infamous, except the top 4 are currently doing that on the medium tyres. Surely they're nearing puncture zone soon.
Yeah, absolutely. But with the pace that Hypers is putting in just now, and it doesn't, being on board with him just now, it doesn't look like the car is actually struggling at all for grip. So yeah, only a few laps to go. I highly doubt these tyres are going to get worse for wear, and therefore it just shows you that the hard tyres have probably made a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. I think imagine what could have been had Brownie gone onto the medium tyres. He's only 4.6 seconds away from Schneider. Yeah, granted he gained that as a result of the pit that Schneider has had to do outside of the safety car. But still, Brownie could have been contending for this P4, maybe even going towards P3 potentially. But you never know. The sounds of taking hards this far into the race is already like, it's doable. But doing that on the mediums, imagine that. Doing it on the mediums is the hard part. Summidiot and Copy going side by side. It was Summidiot who passed Chillin earlier in this race, and that's allowed him to get back up now into P10 and score some very important points. However, Dan, 1.6 seconds up the field, is still in range of Camille, and that could end up being a big battle to watch later.
Yep, absolutely. And look at this for Haas. Haas are having an absolutely great day. Yonti's not really got any danger behind him. He's not really challenging for the two in front, but that looks like it's a pretty secure podium position. And Infamous currently leading this race. He's under pressure, but if he can withstand the pressure and hold Hypers back, then he's on for a win.
Now we're just seeing Dan and Camille having a bit of a scrap. Dan did get the position, but he got a 3-second time penalty for cutting turn 2 just a bit too hard on the inside. Now look at Hypers, look at Infamous. He's not going to attack him yet. He has a lot of ERS built up, and he's just kind of wanting to burn down Infamous's ERS, but it's not really working out Hypers wanted. 62% on Infamous's current battery, and that allows him to now think about the driver behind. I think Hypers is confident in himself to think, I could easily take Infamous, I'm just burning him away. Surely Infamous can't last much longer. But I think Infamous has read that, and I think he's read that as cockiness and gone, actually, I don't even need to charge my battery that much. Like, look at it. In terms of difference, It's only 30%. And I'm still holding you back, despite the fact this is an easy track to overtake on with DRS. And he's going to go for it now. Hypers has decided the outside in towards turn 2. And Infamous will stick it through. There's an off track there for Hypers. Infamous is still ahead, but he is a little bit off the racing line. And that's allowing Hypers to stick his nose in. Infamous has the run through turn 5, though. And he will stay race leader.
See, this is what Hypers has been doing for the last few laps. Hypers have just been closing up to the back of him and turning down his ERS. But Infamous is clever. He's noticed this. He's been turning his ERS down as well, and that's allowed him to continue saving. Hypers needs to make it very obvious that, it's like, if you don't keep the pace down, I'm going to overtake you. And that will start pushing Infamous into the zones that he doesn't want to be in. But right now, it's been... Every time Hypers has caught up, he's just turned all his ERS down and he's just been sitting at his gearbox. He needs to be putting the nose in just to make Infamous use a little bit more of that ERS every lap.
Yeah, and again, same boat. Infamous and Hypers just turning the ERS off. And honestly, a lot of this is down to not just their game knowledge, but also the race engineers that they have, physically in the voice channels with them. Each team here has their own race engineers. They're all communicating and looking at the telemetry of these cars to work out how everyone is handling the car currently. So Infamous will be seeing what Hypers is doing, and his race engineer will be telling him exactly how to handle the situation if he doesn't already know so, which he will, for sure. I mean, look at that. Mode 0, Mode 5 right now is all he needs to do, and just start to hold Hypers at bay. 3.2 tenths is the gap between Infamous and Hypers, and that's going to be surely torn away as here goes Hypers down the inside. Infamous defends very tightly, and I think that was more than fair, although there was a little kiss there between the two, but Infamous has got a much better exit, or has he? He's currently ahead, but Hypers having the inside line means he can still maintain momentum a lot more than Infamous can. And again, another little touch there, but Infamous is still ahead. He is defending like an absolute champion right now.
Yep, absolutely, and he was still managing to save ERS all through that corner. He just turned his mode down to 0, and what a switchback move there.
Oh my lord, Infamous, the cutback champion. That is incredible. He's done that twice in a row and made it work every single time. Hypers will be frustrated at the current scenario. He's been forced onto a tight line, and it's all mental game. This is all mental game. Infamous has just got Hypers' number and locking him into it. Now remember, this is your last chance to get your vote for the driver of the day in, so ! Vote in the chat. Click on the link, fill out your form and see who can get driver of the day. But right now it's who can get race lead. It looks like Infamous is going to be going side by side still with Hypers, but Hypers has finally done what was needed in order to get race lead, but has he done it at the wrong time? We are on the second to last lap, coming to the end of it, about to start the final lap, and Infamous is going to have DRS on Hypers.
Yep, he is, but Hyper's he's saved up a lot of VRS. I don't know if he's feeling confident that Infamous doesn't have enough to play with, but if that's what he's banking on, he's made the wrong call. Infamous has plenty of VRS. He can stay with him. He's got the DRS open now, and this is going to be spicy into turn 2. Hyper's taking a nice tight line so that he's got the inside.
Oh my word, look at the pace that the Haas car has got. He was so fast going through down that straight, and there's contact. Oh, there was very nearly a Hyper's pointing in the wrong direction, and somehow they've actually recovered again to stay side by side, but this time it's roles reversed. It's Hyper's who's got the inside line through turn 5, and there's no way to force anybody out to the outside. He's going to have to go for another cutback. Infamous cannot get it. There's only one left DRS zone to take Hyper's back, and that is coming up in just a few corners. Hyper's has got the race in his hands. He has to defend like a machine, better than what Infamous has done so far in the last few laps, but he also needs to maintain his cool and not get a penalty.
Yep, absolutely. Both of them will now just be dumping their ERS on this straight, trying to get an advantage over the other, and here you go, you'll see him turning it up now, and that's him in mode 5, trying to make it right to the end. He's got a little bit of slipstream from the driver in front, which might help him a little bit, but here comes Infamous.
I don't think he can actually get him. Hypers is too far ahead, and he's defended the inside line, which means there's no cutback opportunity available for Infamous because he has to worry about this left-hand corner. And Hypers, after everything he's been through today, he has somehow done what was needed. Infamous is trying to find the inside line. He's looking and he's getting desperate. You can almost see his face through the helmet. He is so desperate to try and just slip one down the inside of Hypers, but it's going to be too much to ask for as Hypers comes through the final corner, will cross the line and take the win. Infamous takes P2. Yonti will cross the line and take P3. And what a good day it is to be Haas.
Yeah, absolutely. Hyper's done exactly what he needed to do there, but still
never mind.
Oh, Freshneider.
Freshneider. Well played. I didn't even know that Yonti had a penalty.
No, I missed that one as well, but Freshneider's made himself onto the podium. And that's the top 10 now settled in orbit. Yep, somebody I think just gained some positions there from penalties from Get Owned, so that's P9 for him. And Get Owned still manages to get himself a point.
This race going out the way it came in. Lots of carnage over the start line. Look at all the wings. And here we go with Yolta crossing line in P13. We just got Zones and Danico left to go. And then we will have this race all rounded up. We'll get to the interviews in just a moment once we've had the final rundown. But what a Grand Prix that was. That went all the way down to the very final lap. And I really thought that Infamous may get him back on that second DRS straight. But somehow, Zone's having a bit of a reverse crossing of the line. And he's done it. That is the end of the Russian Grand Prix. Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah, absolutely it was. It had everything in it. It was drama, there was suspense, and you know, we didn't even know who had what positions when they were crossing the line. That's incredible.
Now, despite the fact that Dennis actually DNF'd on turn 4 of the first lap, he still gets Driver of the Day vote. What a pity vote that is, eh?
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
now let's get the rundown at the end of that Grand Prix. Hyper's getting that win without getting a single penalty. Infamous, he's also done the same boat, but gets P2. Very close battle that was throughout the entirety of the last few laps, and it made it very exciting to commentate. Freshneider getting P3 due to his consistency, holding Yonti at bay there. Yonti normally captain consistency, but clearly he slipped in 6 seconds of penalties that I didn't see. Mizzo in the same boat, he got P5 with 2 penalties to his name as well. Camille P6, Brownie P7, Copy P8, Samidiat P9, Get On P10, Dan that gets Best of the Rest award with Just Chillin' in P12, Yolta P13, Zones P14, and Danico, the only other car to finish, as the DNFs were Nicholas Lange, Beaker, Safso, Dennis, and Buemels. Now, don't go anywhere. We are going to hear from our podium sitters in just a uno momento. I'm just going to drag them into the call. Bear with. First up is, hopefully, if he's there, Mr. Freshneider. Where are you? He's there. Right, let me bring him in. I definitely moved him. Oh, he's moved. Freshneider, how you doing?
Pretty good, thank you.
Good. What a race that was for you. It was a very sort of hit and miss race initially. It looked like things were going wrong, and then suddenly you brought it all back and secured a very solid P3 due to penalties. How do you feel?
Pretty good considering the start with the collision. I got light wing damage in turn 4, I think it was. So and then the safety car came out, so I had to replace the wing and put on the mediums. And yeah, I don't really think I had to pace to overtake either Hypers or Infamous today, so we just went for a different strategy, try and get the fastest lap and that extra point.
Well, I mean, it worked. Let's be honest. You did a very good job of securing a podium position. Obviously, that is going to help you in the drivers and constructors to close in just slightly. Although Haas, obviously, surrounding you currently, does kind of give them a little bit of an edge. Obviously, P3 is still a really solid result. The pace was a bit off in comparison to the front two. They just seem to be so far up the field. Is there anything you feel you could have improved on?
More practice, I think. Didn't really put enough effort, I think, for this week, so I think I can only blame myself for that.
Now, next week is Japan, though. So how's your pace in Japan?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Pretty good, as in ready for P1?
Yeah. Let's put it that way, yes.
Okay, all right. So next week, I'm going to be seeing Preshnetter's got P1 nailed in the coffin, right?
Yeah.
The confidence was very much present there. Thank you for that. But no, seriously, thank you very much for participating today. And obviously, a very solid P3, really good points for you as a whole, as a team as well. And I look forward to commentating on you next week in Japan.
Thank you.
All right, next up is very close but no cigar, Infamous. Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, it could be better, but not bad.
Well, let's first of all talk about the qualifying. You were fast in the qualifying. You were getting the tow from Yonti. Did it get executed quite how you wanted it to?
Yeah, I mean, it's better than nothing for sure, and I think we hadn't practiced it at all, so I think he did a really good job there. I don't know how much it was worth, but it was certainly worth something. So grateful for that.
I mean, it was very close between you and and Nicholas Lange, so can't complain there at all. But obviously, then going into the race, the run through the first lap up until the safety car was called was very tight, very tense. Now there was contact between you and Nicholas, where he did end up getting wing damage. Just from your own opinion, what happened?
I honestly have no idea. I haven't watched it back. I think we were going through the left-right in the middle of sector 3, and all of a sudden I just got a tap from behind, and I just looked back, and he had poked his nose down the inside. I haven't watched it back yet, but I'll need to because I was really surprised that he was there in the first place. Because we're on the safety car, there's no need to be going side by side, and I was just driving around normally. So yeah, it's very confusing. But I'm sorry that happened to him. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things, really.
Obviously, then the safety car came out and you chucked yourself into the pits immediately and got yourself onto a fresh set of medium, and then decided at that point to take them to the end. Were you always going to do that? Did you know that was going to happen? Were you capable of making that decision at that point?
Well, I've never done it because it's not something that happens too often. Taking tyres the whole race. But I made a mistake last week in Singapore, not trying to take the hards all the way from lap 1 after getting damage. Which I've seen since then. I've seen is possible. So I just decided that I was going to do it, and if I get punctured, then I don't care because I'm pretty much out of the championship battle. I saw Preschneider pit, but I was pretty sure he was not going to be able to make up all that time he lost, and that was indeed the case. But the tyres were completely shredded at the end, and I think that wasn't helped too much with the setup I ran. I had very little confidence on the medium tyres, unfortunately.
Now, at the end of the day, you do finish P2. It's a very solid points position, not just for you in the Drivers' Championship, but obviously your teammate coming in a really high scoring position too means that in terms of the championship, you're actually you're closing in very quickly, which is great. But next week is Japan. Now, I've just spoken to Preshneider, who's told me in a slightly confident way, I guess, that he's going to secure P1. Have you got a response to that?
Well, I mean, there's not enough room for both of us on the top step, so let's see what happens.
I love that. That's perfect. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for the race today. It was so entertaining to commentate on. Congratulations on P2. Obviously not quite the result you wanted, but still a very high scoring points position regardless. And I look forward to seeing you in Japan.
Cheers, man.
Now, let's hear it from the man of the day. It's Hypers. Hello.
Hello. No push to talk this time. I turned it off.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, qualifying. Obviously, you didn't have a tow from your teammate due to his qualifying ban. Just talk to us. How were you feeling coming towards the end of that?
I'm not gonna lie, qualifying for the last 3 races has been completely catastrophic for me. Last 3 races, in practically all of them, I was like, I don't know, 4/10 of the pace that I do in practice, which it was disappointing. But again, Russia is one of these tracks where starting towards the front is not always good, especially P4, P3, Tier 3 is like the best place to start because you get all the toe down into one. So I was disappointed with my pace, but I knew that coming to the race I still hold a good chance of scoring good points. And yeah, I mean, I was disappointed after quali again, but yeah, I guess I knew that I could turn it around in the race.
Well, I mean, you did. I mean, you left it till the very last few laps to be able to secure it. But, in terms of your actual race pace, everything seemed to be going so smoothly for you. You decided to go into the mediums as soon as the safety car came out. Did you know at that point that you could take the tyres to the end?
I was absolutely sure. Probably I would go for that strategy anyways, but I was very confident because I did a league race the other day with the Polish guys, and a guy won literally by doing that, by going onto the mediums onto lap 1. So I was more than confident that I was gonna hold these tyres till the end.
Now, obviously, a massive P1 result will help you in your Drivers' Championship pull that gap even further away than what you've got to Nicholas. He had a bit of a mare, and he's not been able to score any points today. Coming towards the end now, obviously, Japan is the next race, and we're running out of races for him to close you in. Is this the point where you run away with this?
Well, you never know. The same thing might happen to me, and I already said it in the Mercedes chat. Like, everyone is talking like, "Oh, the championship's over," but literally the same thing can happen to me, and we are back to the starting point. So, I mean, it definitely gives me the gap. It definitely gives me a lot of confidence, but I gotta keep the form on because there are 5 races left. One bad race like that, one win from Nico, and we're back to 20 points of a gap. So again, focus stays until the end of the season.
Now, next week, Japan. I've heard from Presschneider, I've heard from Infamous. They both said they're getting the P1 spot. How's your pace feeling at Japan?
It's one of those like weird tracks for me. I mean, if I put the lap together, I don't have the worst pace, but I struggle to put the lap together. So I'll see. Again, for some reason this season I keep winning at tracks that I don't really like. So I'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm quite confident going to the next race. I mean, I finished on the podium every race pretty much, and if I did the maths right, that's all I need till the end of the season to win the championship now. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, you might want to go and get yourself some Lucky Charms, get a 4-leaf clover, rabbit's foot, horseshoe, whatever you need to make sure that you don't get involved in a similar incident to the likes of Nicholas Longe did today. But I do need from you a prediction of exactly where you're going to finish next week.
Where I'm gonna finish?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw today how quickly things can turn around. But if the race was to go green flag racing from start to finish, no contact, no anything, I would say I would be on the podium somewhere. Probably not winning. Again, Japan, especially with my recent qualifying performance. If I have that qualifying performance in Japan, I cannot hope for anything good. So I would say P3, P2. I'm not looking at myself to win, but who knows? Again, we saw today that you don't really, like, everything can happen and everything can turn around in one lap, one corner. So
absolutely. But well done on your win today. A very massive win in terms of points, both for the drivers and the constructors. And I look forward to seeing you next week in Japan.
Thank you.
And that's it for the Rwagnation League Grand Prix here in Russia. I've been Brendan Ragger McConnell, and joining me has been Horn Badger. Thank you, sir. As always, you are an incredible lad. I very much enjoy commentating alongside you. I look forward to doing it on a more frequent basis.
Absolutely, I'm up for that.